Hi, I'm Debbie from Simply Special Crafts. Today we're going to do a quick tutorial on bow tying to supplement the new class packs that we're sending out. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the first bow we're going to tie is just a simple single loop bow with long tails to fasten behind the ends of your card. Let's go ahead and do that one. We will begin with our bow maker. Now, this is the style that we, as of the time this video is filmed, we have in stock. These kind of change over time depending on what tattered lace has available at any given point in time. I'm going to tie this on the first medium rung, so I'm going to call that number 1. I'm going to go across the back of my bow maker as you've seen before. I'm going to come back through number 1, and then I'm going to take the tail. I'm going to put it right through the center there. I'm going to come up behind. I want to make sure my shiny side's out on the other side, and it is. And I'm just going to tie this with a very simple overhand knot, like what you would do if you were starting to tie your shoes. As I do that, since I'm using single-sided ribbon, I'm going to twist my ribbons as necessary to make sure that the non-shiny side is on the top. Then I'm going to slide my bow off my bow maker. We were actually working from the back. Now this is the front. And I should be able to just pull these ends around. And there we have it, our single bow with a tail long enough to wrap around the back. Okay, so that's number 1. That's our single loop bow with long tails. Next, okay, now we're going to tie a 2-loop bow where both of the loops are even, and we're just clipping the ends in that little whale tail or mermaid tail, as some people call it. My bow maker and a piece of satin ribbon. This is one-sided ribbon, so we're going to have to be aware of keeping the right side up. I'm going to first put my ribbon through one of these little notches that just holds it while I'm working. And I'm going to begin by going through number 1, just as we did last time. I'm going to come across the back, keeping my ribbon flat. Then I'm going to come back across number 1 again. Back to number 1, come down through the hole, come up through the center. I'm going to release the tail, and I'm going to tie a simple overhand knot once again, not a knot, just the beginning of a knot. I'm going to twist these around so that the back side of my ribbon is up, because remember we're working from the back of our bow, so it shows us the back here will be the front of our ribbon. Pull it off our bow maker, and we've got a really pretty bow there. I'm going to tighten this just a little. You can see this just a little loose there. I'm going to pull on first one, then on the other side to keep equal tension. I spread these petals out just a little, and we have a perfect 2-loop bow. Now to clip those ends, I'm going to fold my ribbon in half with the fold side down, and I'm going to clip upward at an angle, and I've got that pretty little whale tail. That might be just a little long yet, so I'm going to clip it again. There we go. And you get nice even cut that way by folding it in half and then clipping upward. There we go. There's our 2-loop bow, all finished. Okay, let's move on now to a 3-loop bow. And this one I want this to be longer and then shorter. So let's do that one. We're going to do it just like we did last time. We'll put our ribbon through the placeholder here. We'll go to number 4 on the small. number 4 on the small. Then I'm going to go through number 1 on the medium, number 1 on the medium. I'm going to go back to number 4 on the small. I'm going to come down through the hole. And I'm going to come up through between the two number 1s. I'm going to release the piece that's holding. I'm going to twist these as necessary to make sure that the bottom side of my ribbon is facing me. Pull that tight. If it isn't quite doing what you want, just twist this around a little while you still have it on the bow maker. Now I'm going to pull this up, and I'm going to spread out those petals. And I have 2 short petals and 1 long petal in my bow. I'll go ahead and clip these so they're ready to use. Folding them in half, face to face, clipping upward at an angle. And there we go. We've got our triple loop all tied and ready to go. Okay, we'll do another one here. This time we're going to do our bow using this organza ribbon. I'm going to put my ribbon through my little placeholder. And this is the bow we're tying. And when I'm using organza often, I will give it more than 1 layer, even though I don't intend to spread the petals of the bow out, just to intensify the color. Because see, that's actually still a pretty light color of my bow there, but if I simply go back over the top, and I'm doing this at number 1, I'm going to do 2 layers at number 1, then go ahead and go down through. I'm going to come back up through the front and release this back side. Go ahead and tie this off. And what we'll find is that we'll have a little bit more intense color in our bow than what we would have had with just 1 layer. Okay, and if I want these pulled out to the side, I can easily pull them out to the side, but that's our organza bow. And finally, let's tie one that's just a single small bow out of organza. I'm going to do a number 4 on the small, number 4 on the small. Now what this should do for us is give us just a poofy little bow. It'll be a nice accent, but it's not like a real feature of our card. It's just like a little extra accent on our card. Organza is nice because you don't have to worry about which side's up, since both sides of the ribbon are equal. Pull this one off, and we have a nice little fluffy bow. This organza is a little bit wider than the one that I used before, so I have to tighten it down just a little more to get bow just the same size as I used before, but that's okay. And again, you can always twist those tails around to get them to where you want them to be. There we go. I'm going to clip that in the whale tail, folding it in half and clipping upward. Oops, don't like my clip there. Let's try it again. There we go. And we end up with a pretty little bow. Nice thing about this is you can do this with less than a foot of ribbon. So this is a nice way to use up pieces And you don't always want a great big bow. Sometimes on a big card, you just want a small bow. I'll show you an example of that. In this card that we're making in the roses, I wanted a little bow, and I didn't want to just dominate over the face of these roses, but it's actually on a fairly good sized card. So there we go. We've tied a little organza, we've tied a double loop organza, we've tied a 3-loop bow in satin, we've tied a double loop in satin, and we've tied a single with long tails. If you've got these, you're all ready to make cards. Thanks.